What if I were to tell you that you have a 95% chance of failing? Let me explain it another way. For every 100 people that are watching this video, only 5, that's right, 5 are going to make it in their insurance career. And what if you were one of those 95%? A part of that 95% that are gonna fail. What would you do differently if you actually realized the odds were against you in having success in insurance sales? Hi, my name is David Duford. I own Duford Insurance Group, and the reason I'm putting this video together is because it's true. The vast majority of insurance agents fail within their first year, and we're talking about somewhere between 90 and 95% of all newly licensed agents literally fail out and leave the business. And the odds are high that you, yes, you, are a part of that statistic. And I'm putting this video together because I've recruited agents since 2013, had at least 3,000 plus agents come through my doors in the 10 plus years I've recruited agents. And I've learned a few things about the commonalities that agents have that fail out of this business. And there's 5 in specific we're gonna go over. And you need to listen closely because you might think that you're the exception to the rule. You probably aren't. And what you need to develop is a bit of humility and looking at your capability to fail out at a high rate of percentage chance. And most importantly, look for steps to avoid those through some of the wisdom that I'm going to share with you. So let's go ahead and begin. First fault is that all failed agents fall for the hype. If it's not apparent to you yet, here is the truth about insurance sales. It is a large multi-level marketing scheme. The big players in the insurance space all follow the same playbook. They run a multi-level marketing style of business model that relies on hype and mass recruitment of people who are frankly ignorant of the business and how it works. And the crazy thing about these multi-level marketing organizations is they literally know human psychology like the back of their hand. They are some of the best salespeople that rose up to start these MLMs from their insurance sales days to now running these MLM agencies, and they know exactly what to say and how to present to you to make what they have to offer literally seemingly the best thing since sliced bread. Here's a good way to think about MLMs. They're literally cults. They operate using the same mentality, and while MLMs may not ask you to literally drink the poison Kool-Aid and kill yourself, they're going to ask you to do things and psychologically manipulate you in ways that are very similar to a cult. And what I want to do today is show you an article from Psychology Degree Online about the 10 traits of cults and how an MLM agency uses the same exact playbook and tactics to appeal to your innermost desires, to shut down your rational thinking capabilities, and to allure you into them so that you don't think about what you're doing and end up in a position where you're manipulated to be a part of these organizations that literally have nothing of substantive value to offer you except the hype. Number 1, cults are attractive because they promote an illusion of comfort. Now think about it, guys. These MLMs, what are they showing you in the process of recruiting? Well, they're showing you cars, and not just any cars, exotic cars, expensive watches, airplanes, living the lifestyle that we all dream. And while there's nothing inherently wrong with this materialistic stuff, it's used in a way to show you how comfortable and awesome your life will be by relation to joining their MLM agency. And what they don't show you is all the hard work that's necessary, or possibly some of the downside risk potential if you happen not to make it. And as John Patrick Peterson says, the psychology at Caltech on this article has pointed out that cult leaders often make promises that are totally unattainable, but are also offered by no other group in society. Guys, there are numbers of these big MLMs, I promise you've heard of them, that literally went around several years ago promising that their average income of their agents was $120,000. If you look up on the Bureau of Labor Statistics, you'll see that the average insurance agent makes $40,000 to $50,000 a year. Of course, there are no substantive evidence brought forth to validate these claims of such a substantially high income. So bottom line, these organizations are trying to short circuit your rational thinking capabilities by showing you all of this alluring, interesting, amazing stuff like materialism, but without actually backing it up with substantive proof. This is a way to manipulate you, to get you not to think about asking good questions to see if this organization actually is all it's supposed to be, and to get you in an emotional state to join them without fully thinking through if it really is the best decision or not. Number 2 fault agents have is having no mentor. Like I said earlier, I've been recruiting in the insurance space since 2013, which is a very, very long time compared to the average recruiter. So I've seen agencies come and go. I've seen a lot of the inner workings of these multi-level marketing agencies, and what you guys need to know out there is exactly what their operating process is, because by understanding it, you're going to have a better idea of why you just simply don't get that much mentorship, coaching, or even training. The best way to think about how multi-level marketing agencies work is to use the following quote, which really just personifies exactly how these MLM agencies work. Hire them in masses, train them in classes, sell all their friends and family, then fire their asses. That's literally how it works with these insurance agencies. They're not dedicated to training you into becoming a great salesperson, to developing the skill set to have a lifelong career helping people with their insurance needs. Instead, what they're interested in doing is recruiting anybody with a pulse, because they've bought into the spaghetti strategy of throwing anybody up against the wall that shows initiative or interest, but maybe not necessarily skill set or even appropriate budget to pay for leads. And the hope is that these MLM organizations have is that the cream will rise to the top, and despite all the harm done to these other agents joining who never really should have joined, who cares about their sacrifice? Who cares about what they decided not to do with their time, but instead invested in the organization? Who cares about training them, because the people who will figure it out will figure it out? That is their mentality, and that's how they operate. Added, they also teach their recruits to go out and recruit immediately, without regard to the fact they have no skill set or wisdom experientially selling the insurance products they represent. And what that creates is this race to the bottom effect. The quality of recruits dwindle because the quality of the trainers dwindle. And what you see happening with very big organizations right now is this massive push to recruit, to lowering the quality of the training and the experience of the agents, is that agents write bad business, or they recruit bad agents that write bad business, sometimes fraudulently, which causes chargebacks to roll up to uplines that now owe sometimes 6 figures plus in debt, which cause huge problems for the IMO. Of course, you never hear about this, but the problem is that you're at risk for suffering because the quality of the training isn't there that you absolutely need to succeed in selling insurance. This is why at DeFord Insurance Group, we went all in at the beginning of 2023 on our one-on-one mentorship sales and marketing training model. I have multiple top producing agents who are now mentors helping my new recruits learn the business on a first-hand basis. We do role-playing, product knowledge development, and have multiple meetings every single day to help these new agents get as well trained as possible so that they are ready for battle to go out there, see the people, and close business and help them with their insurance needs. Training is desperately needed, ladies and gentlemen, and if you don't have a mentor or somebody in your corner that will help you succeed, you likely aren't going to survive the high failure rate of this business. Number 3 fault of failed agents, they are finger pointers to everybody but themselves. So I did a survey recently and published it on YouTube about talking to 155 agents about how much money they make in the insurance sales business. And one of the things I noticed is that a lot of the agents that failed pointed fingers at everybody else for why they failed. The lead sucked that I was told to buy. The training was terrible and it wasn't provided. The final expense business is a racket. Nobody makes any money here. And on I heard these failed agents blaming everybody else but themselves. You cannot succeed in anything in life where you constantly point the finger and blame other people for your problems that you brought on. Now, I'm not saying that what these agents were complaining about was totally untrue. There's definitely room for criticism in many of these organizations where there is very little training or where there's very little quality leads available. But the mentality you have to develop is what Brian Tracy calls the I am responsible mindset. I learned this from a great Brian Tracy book I read many years ago. It's the only thing that really stuck with me in this sales training book. And it was the idea that as a person running a business, that you say to yourself almost in a mantra-like state that I am responsible. Any problems that you have in your life, you say to yourself, I am responsible. Any problems that other people cause for you, you tell yourself, I am responsible. Now, what happens when you start holding yourself responsible and saying you're responsible for the problems in your life that you cause, but also for the ones that other people cause? cause. It immediately frees you from the victimhood mentality that is absolutely the opposite of what's required to be successful in any type of endeavor in life. When you take hold of responsibility, what you find is that your brain starts to think of solutions to overcome those difficulties and problems that you've experienced, whether you created them or somebody else did. The point is that saying I'm responsible is an empowering thing to say and to believe. It puts you in the position of being responsible for your own life and seeking out the solutions to fix the problems that you are surrounded by. This is a critical mindset characteristic that you must develop if you haven't already. You see, even if every circumstance is right in the organization you're a part of, you're still going to have problems. And the more you start to finger point and blame others, the more likely you're going to embrace victimhood and excuse yourself from overcoming adversity and succeeding despite the difficulties. So bottom line, take responsibility for your business. If something's not right, tell yourself you're responsible for the outcome of fixing it and get to work on getting better and fixing the problems in your life so you can give yourself success. Fault number 4, jumping into love. So I remember at 16, my first girlfriend was my best friend. Of course, terrible how it happened, but my best friend broke up with his girlfriend. We had drifted apart, and then I started dating her like immediately after they broke up, fell right into love, and like literally 3 months later, we broke up, and I was heartbroken. I never had a girlfriend before, so I was like, stunned and shocked and awed. Somebody paid attention to me. After it was all said and done, I was used, I was abused, I was angry, I had a chip on my shoulder, and it wasn't a pleasant experience. Now, why am I telling you about my mishaps in love, and how should it relate to anything about selling insurance? Because most likely when you got attracted to the insurance business, it was because of the things outlined later. You saw how much money that agents are making. You saw all the materialism that was out there and the signs of wealth that you would love to have for yourself. And it's likely because you're a decent person, you took people on their word and believed what you saw was actually true and how it was demonstrated. The problem is, as Ronald Reagan says, you got to trust for sure, but you got to cut the cards. So if you want to avoid being a failed agent like 95% of agents, go ahead and believe what you're being shown, but look for ways to validate the truth. In other words, like I like to tell my agents that join me and any other organization, is you got to do your due diligence. One of the best ways to do your due diligence is to actually talk to producers or agents in the agency you're looking to join to see what they say about the opportunity and how it compares to how it's being presented. Think of it this way: the agency owners who are trying to attract you to their agency are putting their best foot forward. You're seeing the best version of themselves. They're the best salespeople after all. Usually they were brought up through the sales process and selling insurance to now run agencies, so they know how to present themselves in a favorable light. And while all of that may be true, again, cut the cards, talk to real life agents in the agency, and compare what they have to say about the opportunity versus what the owner does. And what you'll find is, reading between the lines here, you'll see the truth. What is the agency actually like? What type of person actually succeeds? And is this something you truly can see yourself being a part of and seeing success out? And the 5th fault of failed agents: undercapitalization. So I used to drive down a lot downtown to Chattanooga, down Hickson Pike, and there was this restaurant many years ago, I think when I was delivering pizzas at Papa John's, and it was a new restaurant on a corner space, and it was in this building that never really got much traction in it. And I remember it opened up, it was a new restaurant, heard nothing about them, no publicity, no nothing, no marketing support, right? And literally within a week, this brand new restaurant closed, they were out of business, and the empty building was closed again, and nobody was running business in there. Now, why did that restaurant fail? It could fail for all sorts of reasons. Maybe they didn't think through the process of hiring enough people. Maybe they didn't position themselves well, but most likely the problem was they didn't have enough money to run the restaurant day to day. And likewise, as insurance agents, you have to have money to support your own personal bills, plus in many cases, support the lead flow necessary to stay in business, to see prospects, to then give yourself the opportunity to close business. And without enough money on hand to cover lead expenses and living expenses, you're not going to make it. Even if you're a really good agent, if you don't have the money on hand, you're going to fail the business. And this is true of most businesses that are running low on cash flow and are uncapitalized. They tend to fail out a lot faster than those businesses that have a bankroll and money on hand in a large amount to weather the storms of the ups and downs of the business. So those are the 5 faults that failed agents have in common. Don't be a failed agent. Don't have these 5 faults in common. Do the opposite instead. Don't fall for the hype. Look for substance, look for coaching and mentorship, because that is the X factor that makes the difference in the business of selling any kind of insurance. Stop blaming other people for your problems. Tell yourself, I am responsible. Empower yourself to overcome your adversities. Do your due diligence. Make sure you don't jump into bed with the first agency that propositions you. And last but not least, make sure that if you're going to buy your own leads, that you have enough money to properly fund your business, or join an agency that supports some kind of free lead program to help you get started. If you'd like more information on joining DeFord Insurance Group to sell final expense over the phone or in person, you really like the idea of our mentorship program, visit daviddeford.com/FAQ to learn more about how we work, what the details are of our agency, to see if you're a good fit, and then you can formally click the apply button at the top to apply for a position to join our agency. Thanks so much for watching. See ya.